huge concerns. Join me as we debate this with some of India's finest armed forces veterans on this program. But first, here's what it's all about. Well, firstly, let's take a look at what the broad scheme is all about. And the question is this: will Agnipath redefine our armed forces? Firstly, what are the goals? Lower the age profile of soldiers, bring in younger people, bring in more youth into the armed forces. In the case of the army, eventually the age profile will go down from 32 to about 26. Remember, this is a scheme which concerns not officers, but it concerns Jawans and the equivalent in the Air Force and in the Navy. The idea is for the forces to become tech savvy and modern. And then after 4 years, because the scheme lasts 4 years, after which all of these individuals leave, you would have disciplined, skilled youth entering the civilian sector. The larger question, of course, would they necessarily be employed? Because that depends on other factors. Very significantly, women will enter non-officer ranks, so the numbers haven't been specified at this stage. So while we have women officers in the armed forces, women in other ranks, that's something that's just about starting in the case of military police in the army. Now we'll see sailors in the Navy, for example. What are the concerns with the scheme? Well, will the forces lose experienced soldiers? Some would suggest that it takes about 8 years, for example, for an infantryman to become extremely experienced, battle-hardened. But after 4 years, in this case, soldiers would be leaving. Should technically trained soldiers be replaced? Again, this affects the Navy and the Air Force a great deal more, where you've got highly skilled technical workers handling the various aircraft in the fleet, handling various avionics, engine systems. They've been trained up to actually achieve certain tasks. After 4 years, is it right to take away that body of experience which they've developed? Will Agniveers, because this is what these soldiers will be called, will they be motivated? Why do I ask this? Because after 4 years, they know that they will not be in the force, they will not have a salary at that stage, they will not get a pension, and therefore they need to find another job. So while they are in service, would they be as motivated? That's a question that's often been asked. So how does it work from a salary standpoint? So let's try and bring you a couple of basic statistics. On year one, Agniveers, who are part of the Agnipath scheme, would be earning 30,000 rupees. In the present scheme, soldiers earn 21,700 rupees, so a small benefit over there. This is for soldiers joining at the very beginning of their careers. By year 4, this changes to 40,000 rupees for the Agnipath scheme, but in year 4, for those in the present structure, it's still about 21,700 rupees because they don't pick up their next rank, which is what decides their pay structure, not in the case of the Agnipath scheme. There's a comprehensive insurance scheme which is there for the Agnipath scheme. It is there for the old scheme as well. Soldiers in both schemes get special allowances. This is important because soldiers, for example, travel to Siachen or work over there. So they get a special allowance over and above the basic salaries that you see over here. So both the old scheme, the present scheme, and the Agnipath scheme will have these special allowances continue. But once they leave the forces after 4 years, there'll be a one-time payout of 11,71,000 in year 4. But in the case of the old structure, remember, there are higher salaries because soldiers will be working for more than 4 years. They can work up to 15 years, and there is pension on retirement as well. So that's what this is all about. And I think the real idea in this particular scheme is that by opening up funds to the tune of possibly even 1 lakh crores annually, by bringing down their salary and pension budgets, there is a lot more which could be available for our capital budget in defense. In other words, for procuring new weaponry. Will this translate into qualitatively better Indian armed forces? Well, joining us now, Air Chief